Hey YouTubers, and I today want to have a little word about this 2011 census, of which the results are now out. And excitingly, we have found that 1 in 4 people in Britain are now officially atheist, or at least those not affiliated to any religion, which in my book means atheist, but there you go. Could be an agnostic, I suppose. However, Jennifer Lipman of the Independent newspaper has written an article, and it particularly annoyed me, this article, because right, the article's called The Census: Are Reports of the Death of Religion Just Being Exaggerated? Now, to put it into perspective, Christians have dropped by 13% since 2001 to 2011, and atheists, they've gone up from what was just under 15% to just over 25%. That's 1 in 4 people now are saying that they have no affiliation with religion. Whether you want to call that atheist or not, I do, but there you go. Okay, however, Miss Jennifer Lipman, she says, perhaps in another decade we will be a country of faithless degenerates with no moral code or appreciation of compassion. She continues, or perhaps we will be as we are today, but defining our identities to past generations. She kind of says that a bit tongue-in-cheek and defines herself as Jewish, and says that she put Jewish on her census form. And let's face it, you have to have faith to be Jewish. I'm sorry to say, but that's one of the most oppressive religions, in my opinion. They went through a lot, the Jews, don't they? They have done, they always will, I think. The Holocaust was more recent, of course, but if you look at Jews in general, then they've always had a rough time of it, haven't they? Right from the days of enslavement, the Passover, the Promised Land, which they never really were given. They got to wait generations in slavery and etc. until they get it. It's a miserable religion, but it's the Old Testament. It's that old git in the Old Testament, isn't it? Now, in my opinion, if I was a cultural, being a cultural Jew, I'd get rid of that as soon as I could. Being Jewish, why would you want to be just sort of by tradition? But that's not for me to say. I'm waffling off the subject slightly now, but what she's basically saying is because of her historic background, even though she's not a practicing Jew, because of the historic background of who she is, she feels that she defines herself as Jewish. Now, my father, for instance, he was in Bomber Command, the RAF, during World War II. He historically bombed Dresden, and I don't particularly want to be historically, I don't want to be a sort of historic bomber, if you like. I don't want to say, you know, I'm a historic bomber, watch out Dresden, here I come, you know, again. No, Dr. Butt, come back to you in a second. Yeah, so anyway, even if you're looking at, hi guys, dogs now, right. Even if you're looking at things, like she's saying here, what really is irritating, I think, to any of us atheists, is the way that she goes on about the faithless degenerates with no moral code and appreciation of compassion. What a bastard thing to say. Now, I know that was said in basically tongue-in-cheek. It was a leading sort of question. It was a leading thing to the other part, or perhaps we will be as we are today, but defining our identities to past generations. It was leading to that bit. But all the same, religion, in all the things it's done, in backs, and even backs today, it's bigotry against homosexuality, it's oppression of women, it's general acceptance of slavery and all that bollocks, has all been dragged away by common sense and people ignoring it. Let's face it, we know that. But for some reason we have to keep drilling that into these people that Yes, the sense of community that we once had, we can still have. And we still like people who are religious, obviously. I still have friendships with religious people. You don't become, it's not like, oh, those infidel, heathen atheists, you know. And we can't talk to them, they're over there, we must ignore them. We embrace, or at least I embrace, all communities. And I wish the dogs would stop doing this. Hello. It's very difficult to do a video with 3 dogs running around you. Anyway, community. Well, I found a community here on YouTube. It's probably not the same sort of community. We don't have beers together, which I generally, well, you can if you meet up, obviously, but it's not quite the same. Skype isn't quite the same as in the flesh, sitting in you know, a lovely restaurant or bar and having a beer. Oh, I'm waffling, aren't I? But let me get to the final bit. Right, I'll get this done. She says that religion, to her, is not held on ceremonies, but it's a tradition, a lifestyle, and community, and the centrality of values such as kindness and respect. Kindness and respect is within all of us. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, is within all religions. It's within atheism, it's within communities of all sorts. You don't need religion for any of that, and most of us are, I'm of course preaching to the converted on most of these points, but that doesn't stop religious people constantly preaching to the converted, does it? Community can be atheist, obviously. She does say that we need not worry about people who come together through social media for, say, riot cleanups or organising street parties. But then assures people, but then she assumes that people are cultural Christians that find it hard to identify themselves on a census form, as they are like lost sheep within a community. Well, this is not the case. I'm sorry, Mrs. Lipman or Miss Lipman, but I was brought up as a Church of England, in a Church of England school. I was christened Church of England. I was confirmed within my public school, within the Church of England. But I am not any longer part of that church, and I'm no longer a part of that church because my entire values have changed. I see it now for what it is, and that is of course bullshit, and I think most people see it for bullshit. And no, we're not lost sheep just wanting to be found. We are people that have grown up and learnt more. We have been educated, and basically atheism is here to stay, and it's here to expand. And great news, in my opinion. To be honest, I expected it. People are becoming a lot more sensible than they were a few years ago. Anyway, peace for now. And Jennifer Lipman, sorry, but your article is bullshit.